what we're doing today is basically adding on from what we did last class of finding the GCF, so now we are learning how to factor. So, number one says find two numbers that multiply to be 12 and add to be 7. So multiply to be 12, I have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. I also have the negatives of -1, -12, -2, -6, -3, -4. All of those can give me positive 12. I don't have it. Okay, so what you guys come up with? What adds to give you positive 7?
3 and 4.
Positive 3 and positive 4. Careful. Number 2, find two numbers that multiply to be 12 and add to be -7. So I still have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, and then I have the negatives. My board is a little off. And I need it to add up to equal -7. So that would be -3, -4. I want you guys to try number 3. So we need two numbers that multiply to give us -12. So I just need one set of negatives. On the other side, I'm going to flip it. And I need to add to give me 1. Okay, which one would it be? Which one adds to give me 1? I can cross the top 4 out. I know I can't get 1 with those. Will it be -3 plus 4 or 3 plus -4?
-3 plus 4.
-3 plus 4. -3 plus 4 gives me positive 1 when I add them up.
You ever notice that they think that they sit in the back of the room and there's only 5 of them, like a candy or something?
I know. Look at number 4. We still need multiples of -12, so I'm not going to write it again. Use those over there. I need 2 to add to give me -1. Which one would that be? What can I add to give me -1?
-3, -4. I mean, positive 3.
Positive 3 and -4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, hold on, let me explain it. What this is if you look and see on the left column, it tells you what the number is. The right column tells you what factors are. There are no negatives here, but you guys can figure out the negatives. Okay, that's what your calculator is for. We will use this today as we're going through. Okay? Sometimes I'll let you guys use it. Okay? What'd you say?
On open note quizzes and stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes I'll use your factor chart when you're testing stuff. Factoring is opposite of distributing. The purpose is to put expressions into factors. Which means they need to be in parentheses. All right, so steps to factor by grouping. I don't expect you guys to read all of these because it's easier if we just go through our system. But we first factor out the GCF. We bring down the first and last term. We make a T-chart to find the factors that multiply to be A and C. I do this a little different. And add to get us B. We replace the middle term with a new pair. We'll split them up and then we'll find the GCF of the last two terms. And then you check by multiplying. At the bottom it says if a polynomial is not able to be factored, then it is prime. It is prime if it is not able to be factored. I know I went through that quickly because we're going to go through it more in depth in our examples. Okay? Number one. Okay, I have a little more space than you guys, but please write exactly what I write. Do not try to skip steps. If you try to skip steps, you're going to forget something and then you're not going to know what you're doing in your homework. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 10. Do I have a GCF in anything? No, my numbers are 1, 7, and 10. Nothing in common. And then x squared, x, and nothing. So there's no GCF. All right, next step. I like to call this my AN method. I make a T-chart. AN, MA. Kind of backwards. So AN, MA. Off to the side, just make your chart. This chart is very important. Alright, so what number is under my N? 10. That means multiply. What number is under my A? 7. And that means to add. Nope. So I need multiples of 10. What two numbers can multiply to give me 10?
5 and 2.
Well, I will start with 1. 1 and 2, and then 2 and 5. And then we can also do the negatives, but I have a positive 7 here, okay? So I'm going to just leave everything positive. Which one of those, if I add them, will give me 7?
5 and 2.
2 plus 5 gives me 7. This one does not work. So if you have your chart, you can look at it and go to 10. You can see 1 and 10, 2 and 5 here. You can ask yourself, which one can give me 7 if they're added together? 2 and 5. All right, from there, you don't have to rewrite it, but I will do this. My first step is to pull down the first and pull down the last. So I have x squared and positive 10. Pull down the first and pull down the last. In the middle, I am replacing this 7x, but I'm keeping my term. Instead, I'm putting my new factors. So I have positive 2x and positive 5x. 2x plus 5x is still 7x. We're just splitting it up so we can factor it. All right, once we get to this step, we have 4 terms. You guys see this? X squared, 2x, 5x, and 10. I'm going to split it up. I used to call this Star Trek because you know how Star Trek does this?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Star Wars, apparently not expensive, whatever. But think about like 4 and we split. Okay? I split right down the middle.
Split down the middle.
Yep. 2 on each side. Now I need the GCF of each side. We did this last class. Look at x squared and 2x. What's my GCF? Well, 1, but then just x, right? Because that's x squared and x to the first. The smaller one wins. So we have just x. Once I have my GCF, I pull it out to the side and I divide. This is what we did last class as well. What's x squared divided by x? Just x. And then 2x divided by x plus 2. Alright, we're done with the left side. Let's go to the right side. 5x and 10. What's my GCF? 5. I bring my 5 down. Now let's divide. 5x divided by 5. We get x. 10 divided by 5? 10 divided by 5 is 2. Once I get here, I am looking to see if my parentheses are matching. X plus 2, X plus 2, are they matching?
Yeah.
Yes. That makes me happy. If they are matching, I'm close to my answer. My matching parentheses become an answer. So that's one factor. The other factor are my GCFs. So X and then positive 5. That is my answer. I will tell you guys, there's a shortcut to this that we'll learn next class, but it does not always work. So because the shortcut does not always work, I have to show you this way first. Which I get is long, but we find our factors with our T-chart, we split them, bring down your first, bring down your last, plug in the middle, and then we divide by our GCFs, and then we take our matching parentheses, that's a factor. My GCFs are also a factor. Okay? Well, number 2. I do not have a GCF because I have x squared and x and then negative 6. There's nothing there that can combine to be each other. So I get into my AM method. AM, MA. AM, MA. All right, what number is under the M?
X.
What? Under the M?
6.
Negative. All right, remember, it's AM, MA, not AM, AM. So we have negative 6 under my M. My A is just a positive 1. So I need 2 things to multiply to give me negative 6. So I can have 1 and 6, with each of them being, it could be negative 1, it could be negative 6. Or I could have 2 and 3, right? With each of them being negative. Which one do we think we're going to need? 2 and 3 or 1 and 6? We need 1 and 6 to add to give us 1? No, we're never going to get there. At least with 2 and 3, I can get to 1. Will it be negative 2 or will it be negative 3? Which one gives me a positive 1?
Negative 3.
Negative 2 plus 3 gives me a positive 1. Okay? Once we get here, I go back to my problem, polynomial. I bring down the first. I bring down the last. On the inside, I am plugging in to take the place of what's in the middle. So negative 2x and positive 3x. All right, I have 4 terms. What do? Eric? Star Trek. You split them right down the middle. So now I have a GCF on the left side. I have x squared and negative 2x. My GCF is just going to be x. Now let's pull it out to the side and let's divide. X squared divided by x. And then negative 2x divided by x.
2
Plus 2 or minus 2?
minus.
Minus. On the right side, I have 3x and I have 6. So my GCF is going to be just 3. I pull that down and I divide. 3x divided by 3 gives me x. And 6 divided by 3 gives me positive 2. All right, something happened. I had a mistake. Where was it?
The positive and negative.
The what?
The negative. So you got a positive plus 2. X minus 2 plus.
Oh, I wrote it wrong. Okay. You guys see how my parentheses aren't matching? If they aren't matching, I know I did something wrong. So I wrote negative, I wrote positive, it should have been negative 6. So let's fix that really quick. So this should be negative. That should be negative. And this should be negative. Now I'm good to go. I have matching parentheses. Alright? So my matching parentheses become 1. and my GCF, that's on the outside, also become 1. Are you guys kind of getting the process?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest parts is maybe getting the factors together and then remembering what to do next. Definitely make sure you have your factors right. Okay, so on number 3, when I ask myself, do I have a GCF? 5x squared plus 12x plus 4. Nope, my numbers don't have anything in common, my x's don't have anything in common. Because 4 doesn't have an x. But do you guys see how number 3 has a number in front of x squared where the other 2 did it?
Yeah.
I don't like that. That means I need to swing it over. So that 5 connects to that 4. We still have our AM method. So we have MA, we just flip it. So I need 2 numbers not to add together, but we multiply them together. So what's 5 times 4? 20. And I want to add to get me to 12. So all I did was swing that 5 to the back. Okay? Look at your factor paper. What can I get, or what can I use with 20 to give me 12?
10 and 2.
10 and 2.
10 and 2 is the best answer, right?
Yeah.
So, the important part about swing is, like, imagine when you're younger, you go on a swing, you go all the way up high, you have to come back down, right? After we swing, and we do this little number, we have to swing it back. So this guy drops back down. It's like he just came back to where he started.
Okay.
And our last number, we bring that down. Jordan, what goes in the middle?
Alright, so what goes in the middle is
What are my factors?
20, 2 and 10.
So you have to put the x, right?
Yeah,
So
X.
2x plus 10x. It does not matter if you flip the 2 in the middle. If you want to put the 2x with the 4, go for it. And the 5x squared with the 10x, it does not matter. You can flip-flop those. Isaac, once I have 4 terms, what do I do?
Split it.
You have to split. Jeffrey, once I split, then what do I do?
You gotta find the greatest common factor from both sides.
Yep, let's start with the left side. I have 5x squared and then 2x. Well, 5 and 2 don't have anything in common, right? So my numbers are done. X squared and x, we just choose the lowest x. I bring that out to the side and I divide. 5x squared divided by x, I get 5x. 2x divided by x gives me 2.
And then go
On the other side, 10 and 4 have what number in common?
2.
2. That's the highest number. And my x's are not a GCF. So I bring down my 2 and I divide. 5x plus 2. Do I have matching parentheses? Yes, I'm on the right track. So my first factor is 5x plus 2. My second is x plus 2. And that's my answer. I want you guys to try number 4. So far behind. Make sure you use your factor chart.
So which one there's like, there's a number.
Alright, so, once we swing first, I need two numbers that add to give me 17 and multiply to give me what? 42. So we have 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and what?
14,
Is that all that works?
6 and 7.
6 and 7. Alright, which one of these can add to give me 17? 3 and 14. Okay. We swung it back and we dropped it. So when I swing it back, I get 6x squared and I bring down my plus 7. On the inside, I have plus 3x plus 14x. Now that I have 4 terms, what do I do? You split them in half. Jordan, once I split them in half, what happens to that left side?
You have to radius contact.
Okay, so what's the GCF for the left side? I have 6x squared and then 3x. So 3 is my number, and then what about my x's? Good. Don't forget the x. Alright, so now I can divide. When I divide this, I have what's 6 divided by 3? 2, be careful. And then x squared divided by x, it's just x. 3x divided by 3x, I get plus 1. Alright, on the other side, I have 14x plus 7. My GCF is just 7. Then when I bring down the 7, I'm left with 2x plus 1. So I have matching parentheses. So I get 2x plus 1. And I have 3x and then positive 7. So that's 3x plus 7. My GCS also become a factor. Do we understand that process?
Yeah.
All right. All right, number 5. I don't have a GCF, but I have a 3 that's in front that I don't need. So I'm going to get into my AM method. I need two numbers that multiply to give me what? What's 3 times 20?
Negative 60.
60.
Yeah, 60.
And then add to give me
So, negative 17.
negative 17. All right, so I get 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20. What else is there?
5 and 12.
5 and 12,
6 and 10.
and 6 and 10. Which one of these, if I add, can give me negative 17? Well, let's ignore the negative for now. Let's look at only my, like, what can give me 17? Not those. 5 and 12, right? Well, 3 and 20 may also, right?
Yes.
So let's figure out, if I have 5 and 12, if I add them, let's see here, they will both have to be negative to give me positive 60. If I add them together, I get negative 17. That looks good. With 3 and 20, if they're both negative, I get positive 60. But if we add them, we get negative 23. So my answer would be
5, negative 5, negative 12.
negative 5, negative 12. All right, my 3 swings back, so I have 3a squared. And then I pull down a positive 20. On the inside, I am writing negative 5a, and negative 12a. I'm going to recalibrate. Alright, you guys split?
Yeah.
On the left side, my GCF is
A.
just A. Just 3 and 5 have nothing in common. And when I divide, I get 3a minus 5. This one's a little tricky. On the right side, I'm starting with the negative. If I start with a negative, I have to bring that negative out. Remember that?
Yeah.
So 12 and 20 have what in common? What's the highest number? 4, right? Yeah, 4. So I bring down the negative 4 and I divide. I get 3a minus 5. If you didn't use 4, you used a different number, by the time you got to your matching parentheses, they'll be off. So that tells you to go back and check something different. These are matching, so we're good. So I have 3a minus 5 times a minus 4.
The next one.
Alright, that was... Okay, we're going to skip 6. Let's go down and do 7. On number 7, we have negative 5, negative 25, and 30. Do we have a GCF? Yes, what is it?
5.
What kind of 5? Negative 5. If it ever leads with a negative, you have to bring that negative out. Okay? So, before we start, let's take out my GCF. Let's divide. Negative 5, x squared divided by negative 5, I'm left with what? X squared. Negative 25x divided by negative 5.
5.
Positive 5x, right? And then 30 divided by negative 5, we get negative 6. I am basically, my GCF out here is just going to wait. I don't need it right now. I'm going to worry about factoring the yellow part, what's in the middle. Now I can ask myself, A and N, and A. I need two numbers that multiply to give me what? Negative 6
And then 5.
and 5. I'm not even looking at my GCF. I'm only looking at to the very back. Alright, so let's see here. I can have 1 and 6, both negative, or I could have 2 and 3, both negative. Which one of those, if I add it, gives me a positive 5? Huh? 1 negative 6, I get negative 5 if I add that. Negative 1 plus 6, I get positive 5. Negative 2 plus 3, I get 1. And 2 plus negative 3, I get negative 1. So what's my answer? Negative 1 and 6. Make sure you're checking all of them. I bring down my first. I bring down my last. On the inside, we're writing negative 1x and positive 6x. Alright, I have 4 terms, so I split them. On the left side, my GCF is just x. And then I divide x minus 1. On the other side, my GCF is 6. And I divide x minus 1. I have matching parentheses, so we're good so far. So I have x minus 1, and then x plus 6.
So you do that 5.
Good question. What do I do with that negative 5? It doesn't go away. I'm just going to bring it down so it can join the party. That negative 5 will be in your actual answer. That's why I circled it, so so you wouldn't get confused, you wouldn't forget it. Yes. Alright, so you guys are gonna do 6 and 8. They're just like 5 and 7. Okay? Work on those for about 10 minutes.